Zara was not afraid of anything. She was one of the most feared alien mercenaries in the galaxy. Tall, silver-skinned, with glowing eyes and sharp armor, she had completed hundreds of missions. She had hunted monsters, captured traitors, and fought in wars. Her name made others whisper in fear, but when the mysterious client offered her a job, even Zara hesitated. She sat in a dark room inside a space station orbiting a dying star. Across the table was a small creature in a black cloak. No face, just a deep voice and a holoscreen. "The mission is simple," the voice said. "Find the human male named Jackson Cross. Extract the treasure inside him." Zara raised an eyebrow. "Inside him?" The voice nodded. "Yes. The treasure is inside the human. It must be recovered. You will be paid more than 10 million galactic credits." Zara leaned back. "What kind of treasure?" "That information is classified." Zara frowned. She didn't like secrets. Secrets got people killed. But 10 million credits? That could buy her a planet. Still, something felt wrong. She tapped, her claws on the table. "Why me? There are hundreds of hunters." "They all failed," the voice said. "Some vanished, others returned insane. Many never returned at all." Zara narrowed her eyes. "And you think I'll survive?" "We believe only someone like you can." For the first time in a long while, Zara felt a chill down her spine. Later that day, she stood at the edge of her ship, the Fangstorm. The galaxy map hovered in front of her, glowing with red and blue stars. She searched for the coordinates the client gave her. Sector Varnus 13, a lonely backwater planet called Turnus. Population, low. Civilization level, primitive. Known dangers, many. Human presence, 1. Just 1 human. Zara zoomed in on the profile. Name: Jackson Cross. Species: human male. Age: 29. Galactic years. Status: alive. Location: unknown. Zara crossed her arms. "So 1 human is carrying something that powerful?" she whispered. "What does he have inside him? A weapon? A code? A map?" No one knew. And that made the job dangerous. She remembered something else. The client's final warning. "Whatever happens, do not harm the human. The treasure must remain intact." As she flew through hyperspace, Zara thought back to the stories she had heard. Whispers of a treasure hidden in flesh. Of a creature walking with galaxies inside him. Of hunters who saw things they couldn't explain. Was it a legend? A trap? Or was this human truly special? She didn't believe in myths. She believed in facts. She believed in credits. But deep in her gut, she knew this wasn't a normal job. When her ship arrived near Turnus, clouds covered the sky. The planet was dark, cold, and wild. It looked forgotten by time. Zara landed in a quiet forest area. Trees taller than her ship surrounded her. Strange animals howled in the distance. Her scanners picked up a small energy signal not far away. She checked her weapon, then stepped outside. The wind was sharp. The air smelled like ash and flowers. She moved through the forest like a shadow, silent and focused. After an hour, she found a small camp. A fire burned low. A human sat beside it, humming to himself. He looked nothing like a warrior. He wore a torn jacket, boots, and had messy hair. He was cooking something that smelled terrible. Zara stared. Was this Jackson Cross, the one carrying a treasure inside him? He suddenly looked up. Their eyes met. He didn't scream. He didn't run. Instead, he smiled and said, "You're not from around here, huh?" Zara was stunned. No fear, no questions, just calm. This was not what she expected. She stepped forward slowly. "I'm here for something inside you," she said coldly. He blinked, then laughed. "I get that a lot." Zara's frown deepened. Was he joking or did he know? But before she could ask, her scanner buzzed again. It showed something strange. A pulse, a glow. Inside him, It was real. Zara's mission had begun, and this time she might not walk away the same. Zara didn't sleep. She didn't need to. Not on missions like this. All night she sat on a high tree branch, her glowing eyes locked on the human below. Jackson Cross had fallen asleep near the fire, wrapped in an old blanket, holding a metal mug like a child hugging a toy. He looked peaceful, too peaceful for someone carrying a galactic-level secret. Zara tapped her scanner again. The pulse was still there, inside him. It didn't act like a weapon or tech or anything she'd seen. It was alive, like the treasure wasn't just in him. It was part of him. She zoomed in with her visor. His heart was beating a little too fast. His skin gave off faint heat patterns she didn't recognize, and every few minutes the ground around him shifted. Not physically, not in a way most would notice, but Zara felt it in her bones. Reality shimmered, just for a second, as if the universe bent slightly toward him. By morning, Jackson yawned and stretched like nothing was wrong. He poured water from a rusty jug, hummed a tune, and fried something that smelled like burnt rubber mixed with honey. Zara had faced warlords, beasts, and living planets, but this man confused her. Why did he act like this? He wasn't afraid. He wasn't hiding. He seemed lonely. Zara decided it was time to test him. She stepped out from the trees, slowly, making sure he saw her. Jackson looked up and waved. "Good morning, tall, shiny lady." Zara blinked. "Do you know who I am?" she asked firmly. "Nope," he said cheerfully. "But I bet you're not here to sell cookies." Zara tilted her head. "You should be afraid." "I should be," he said, poking the fire. "But I'm not. I saw a dream last night. A glowing lady stood by a tree and watched me." "Guess that was you, huh?" Zara froze. She hadn't made a sound last night. She hadn't even moved. "Dreams mean nothing," she said coldly. Jackson shrugged. "Maybe. Or maybe you're the reason my tea turned blue this morning." Zara looked at his mug. The liquid was blue. She checked her scanner again. This time the pulse inside him was stronger. Not only that, it had moved. "What are you?" she whispered. "Just a human." Jackson smiled. "Mostly." Zara sat across from him. She didn't eat. She didn't talk. She just watched. Jackson didn't mind. He told stories, useless stories, about how he crashed here 5 years ago, how the planet had storms that sang, how his beard once caught fire from static rain. None of it made sense, but every time he spoke, Zara felt the same shimmer in the air, like the universe was listening. That's when she realized Jackson wasn't just carrying the treasure. He was changing the world around him without even knowing it. Later, Zara searched his camp while he fetched water. There were no weapons. No tech, nothing special. But under his pillow, she found a small old photo, a human child, with a dog. Written on the back, "The treasure is within. Protect it, Jax. It's your gift, and your curse." Her claws tightened around the photo. So, he didn't know. But someone in his past did. Someone had warned him. And now, the treasure was waking up. Suddenly her comm link buzzed. A scrambled voice broke through. "Zara, get out of there. You're not the only one tracking him." She stood up fast. From above the clouds she saw them, dark shapes descending. Not ships, not drones, but shadow beasts, illegal hunters, ones who didn't care about rules, ones who would kill Jackson to rip out whatever was inside. Zara swore. She looked at the human walking toward her, holding a bucket of glowing water, smiling like a fool. He had no idea, and now he had no time. Zara stepped forward, grabbed his wrist, and whispered, "They're coming for you, and if I don't keep you alive, the galaxy is doomed." Jackson blinked. Whoa, that's a lot to say before breakfast. Zara didn't smile. For the first time in years, she felt fear. Not for herself, but for him. The sky had turned red, not because of sunset, because the hunters had arrived. Zara's ship was hidden deep in the valley, and Jackson was still asking questions like, "Wait, are you saying I'm carrying a cosmic egg inside me or something?" Zara didn't answer. She didn't have time. She grabbed his wrist again, pulled him behind her, and rushed through the trees. He stumbled, tripped, cursed, but followed. "Are you always this intense?" he shouted as branches slapped his face. "Only when people are trying to kill me," Zara replied. "Wait, me or you?" "Right now. Both." They reached a hidden cave, lit only by Zara's wrist device. Jackson collapsed on a rock, gasping. "You could have just told me we were being hunted." "I tried," she said, scanning the area. "You joked about tea." "Tea's important, okay?" he said, still panting. "Anyway, what are these things chasing us?" Zara turned to face him, serious. "They're void hunters, illegal, hungry. They track rare life forms. You are glowing to them like a star in a dark ocean." Jackson frowned. "That's not comforting." "It wasn't meant to be." The cave trembled slightly. Zara activated a shield at the entrance. "Do you really not know what's inside you?" she asked. "I told you. I'm just a guy," he said. "Sure, weird things happen around me. Machines fix themselves, plants grow fast, animals follow me around like I'm a walking snack. But I thought it was just luck." "It's not luck," she said. She opened a holopad and showed him the scan. Inside his body was a glowing core. Not mechanical, not artificial, something older. "See this?" She pointed. "This is not normal." Jackson leaned forward. "Huh. It kinda looks like a—" "Don't say anything stupid." Zara cut him off. He grinned. "Treasure." "I was going to say treasure." Zara rolled her eyes. But she couldn't deny it. The thing inside him pulsed stronger now. It reacted to danger. It was alive, and possibly ancient. Then something unexpected happened. The shield blinked out. Zara's wrist device sparked. "What the—" She tapped it. Nothing. Total failure. Jackson looked around. "Did I break something again?" Zara stared at him. "It's you," she said slowly. "You're disrupting tech near you." "Not on purpose. I didn't say it was on purpose." She stood up and stepped closer. Jackson stood too. Their faces were inches apart now. "You're giving off energy, unstable, random, and strong." He raised his hands. "Well, maybe keep your voice down. I didn't come with an off switch." Then her scanner beeped. The hunters had landed. She could hear growling outside, heavy steps, clicking sounds. "They're here," she whispered. Jackson's face went pale. "Okay, plan," he said. "You stay behind me. Don't move. Don't breathe unless I say so." "You're joking." A shriek cut him off. The sound echoed through the cave like glass breaking inside his skull. Zara pulled out her blaster. The cave entrance exploded. A shadow-like creature crawled through. 8 limbs, glowing red eyes, and skin that moved like liquid smoke. Zara shot first. The blast hit its shoulder. It screamed and fell back. But more were coming. Jackson ducked behind a rock. "I thought you said there were only a few of them." "I lied," Zara shouted. "They always come in swarms." She fired again. One dropped. Another one rushed her. She kicked it in the head and shot it mid-air. Jackson could barely keep up. The sounds, the lights, the chaos. It was too much. He squeezed his eyes shut, and then something inside him snapped. Not pain. Something deeper. A warm energy rushed from his chest to his arms, to the ground beneath him. The cave glowed. The walls hummed. Zara stopped mid-fight. The hunters screamed and backed off, hissing. Jackson stood up slowly, eyes wide and glowing. Blue Zara stared at him. "What did you just do?" He looked down at his hands. I don't know." The hunters retreated. The air turned calm. Zara lowered her weapon. Jackson sat back down, shaking. That felt crazy, like something inside me woke up. Zara didn't say anything for a while, then finally whispered, "The treasure isn't an object, it's you." Jackson's eyes met hers. No, he said quietly. It's what's waking up inside me. Zara couldn't argue. And deep down, she knew. This mission had just become bigger than anything she had ever faced. Zara had seen many strange things in her life. Living shadows, planets that screamed, even a sun that cried when its last moon died. But nothing prepared her for this human, Jackson Cross, who made bad jokes, burned his breakfast, and wore mismatched boots, had just lit up a cave with his body, and scared away void hunters who feared nothing. She sat in silence as he curled into himself, holding his arms. His eyes still had a faint blue glow. His skin shimmered faintly, like starlight trapped beneath it. He didn't speak. He was shaking. Zara activated her emergency bioscanner, the one she kept locked for rare living artifacts. It hummed, blinked, then buzzed violently. Error. Subject contains living core energy. Category unknown. Warning. Possible forbidden class mutation. Zara's face tightened. Jackson, she said slowly. Has anyone ever cut you open? His eyes widened. That's the creepiest thing anyone has ever said to me. I mean for medical reasons, she said. Have doctors ever scanned you? He blinked. No. I got sick once. My fever fixed itself in 10 minutes. Never needed hospitals. That explained everything. He had lived all this time not knowing what he truly was. She walked over and sat beside him, keeping her tone low. There's something inside. You. Not an object, not a parasite. It's like a second core. Something sleeping inside your biology. Something old. Jackson looked down at his hands. I felt it, back in the cave, like I wasn't alone in here. You're not, Zara said. There's something in your blood. Your bones. Something ancient. He stared at her. Are you saying I've got some alien baby growing in my chest or what? No, she said. Worse. You are the container of knowledge, of power, of something that galaxies tried to forget. She pulled out a small, black cube. See this? She said. This is a Vraxian memory key. It holds the oldest forbidden data in the galaxy. It's illegal in every known star system. I stole this 5 years ago. Cool story, Jackson muttered. What does it do? She pressed it against his skin. The cube exploded in light. Holograms filled the air, floating images, symbols, voices in alien tongues. Jackson gasped. I can understand them. Zara turned sharply. You what? The symbols, he whispered. They're not just pictures. I know what they mean. She stared at him. No one could read ancient Vraxian. No one. Not even machines. But he was reading them like bedtime stories. One line pulsed brighter than the others. It read, The seed of origin lies in human flesh. One shall awaken. One shall reshape the stars. Zara swallowed hard. You're the seed, she said. Jackson scratched his head. That sounds like a weird comic book title. It's worse than that, Zara said. The seed is real. It was made by a civilization that lived before time was measured. They planted it inside a species they believed would outlast war, greed, and extinction. And they chose humans? He asked, eyes wide. Yes, Zara said. Or maybe only you. The silence stretched. Outside, strange birds called into the wind. Inside, the air had changed. Zara didn't look like a bounty hunter anymore. She looked uncertain. Jackson didn't look like a fool anymore. He looked like something new. I need to get you off this planet, Zara finally said. Now. Why? He asked. I've been here 5 years. She stood, eyes sharp, because now they know. Jackson stood too. The Void Hunters? No, she whispered. The ones who created the seed, the Watchers. They'll come, not to help you, but to erase you. Why? Because, she said, whatever is inside you, Wasn't meant to wake up yet. Jackson sat back down, hands on his head. This is crazy, he muttered. I was just a delivery boy. I used to carry noodles to grumpy old aliens. Zara knelt beside him. Listen to me, Jackson, she said. You're not just a carrier. You're not just a mistake. You are a fuse waiting to be lit. And I've decided something. He looked up at her. She pulled out her second blaster and handed it to him. I'm going to protect you. His eyes softened. Why? Zara paused, then said, Because you're the only human I've met who didn't scream when I appeared. He chuckled. Then the sky cracked with thunder. Something had entered the atmosphere. Bigger than a ship, older than time. The Watchers had arrived. The sky above Turnus split in half like torn paper. A black spiral opened in the clouds, silent and unnatural. Lightning crawled across the air, not down, but sideways. It didn't flash. It glowed, unmoving, like someone had pressed pause on the sky. Zara looked up from the cave. Her eyes narrowed. They're here, she said. Jackson stood behind her, clutching the blaster she gave him. That's not a ship, is it? No, she said. It's a door. A door to what? To something that never should have opened. Zara activated her ship remotely. It responded with a low hum. The fangstorm was airborne within seconds, hidden in the clouds. Get ready, she said. For what? Jackson asked. But he got the answer when the ground shook violently. 3 figures dropped from the sky. Black armor, 4 arms each, eyes like dull fire. They weren't the void hunters from before. These were elite, the kind of mercenaries paid in galaxies, not credits. Zara recognized one immediately. Crawl, she growled. The biggest one stepped forward, smirking. Zara, still picking up. Lost puppies. Jackson peeked out. Who's the oversized trash can? Crawl laughed. That must be him, the human with the treasure inside. Zara raised her blaster. He's not a prize, Crawl. He's under my protection. Crawl's smirk turned cold. Then you're in the way. The moment he moved, so did she. Zara rolled left, blasted his second in command, and flipped behind a rock. Jackson ducked and shouted, Why do they have 4 arms? They cheat, she shouted back. Crawl charged, swinging a blade longer than Jackson's leg. Zara blocked it with her gauntlet and fired into his leg. He didn't fall, just laughed. You're outnumbered, Zara, he hissed. I've been outnumbered my whole life, she said, spitting at his feet. Jackson peeked from his hiding spot. 2 of Crawl's hunters were closing in on him. His hand shook. He'd never fired a weapon before, never aimed at anything but empty cans back on Earth. But this wasn't Earth. This was survival. He raised the blaster. 1 alien leapt forward. Jackson fired. The shot hit the creature's side. It fell back with a cry. The second one roared, tackled him, and stopped. Mid-air, frozen, floating. Time stilled for a second. Jackson's body glowed again. Not blue this time. Golden. The alien dropped to the ground, stunned. Zara saw it. Her eyes widened. Jackson, you just stopped time. Crawl turned toward Jackson. So that's the power, he whispered. That's what the Watchers fear. He raised a pulse rifle. Zara screamed, No. But before he could shoot, Jackson raised his hand. Instinct, not thought. Crawl's rifle melted, literally melted like wax in fire. The other mercenaries backed away. This isn't a human, one hissed. This is a weapon. No, Zara said, stepping in front of Jackson. He's not a weapon. He's the key. To what? Crawl asked. Zara smiled faintly. To your retirement. She fired a stun blast into Crawl's chest. He collapsed, twitching. The rest ran. The wind calmed. The black spiral in the sky began to fade. Zara turned to Jackson. He was sweating, pale, shaking. I didn't mean to do that, he whispered. You didn't, she said softly. The thing inside you did. He dropped the blaster. I don't want to be a weapon, he said. You're not, she said. You're something else. something new. They returned to her ship that night. Inside the Fangstorm, Zara ran full scans. Jackson sat quietly, staring at his hands. The scans showed something shocking. The power inside him had grown after the battle. The more danger he faced, the stronger it became. Like the core inside him fed off fear, courage, and choice. It was alive. Yes, but also learning. Zara turned off the screen. "This is why they want you," she said. "Not just for what's inside you, but because you haven't been shaped yet." Jackson looked at her. "Shaped into what?" She hesitated, then answered, "Honestly, God or monster?" Zara didn't sleep. Again. She watched Jackson through the glass wall of her ship's medbay. He was unconscious, hooked to soft glowing wires, breathing slow. His skin still shimmered faintly, but the glow was different now. Not wild, not dangerous. It was focused, like something inside him had finally opened its eyes. Zara turned to the ship's AI. "Give me the latest." The AI responded, "Subject's neural patterns are rewriting themselves. His brain has accessed 13 unknown frequency layers, memory sectors expanding, heartbeat stable, core activity rising." "Rising?" Zara asked. The AI paused. "He's changing." Zara stared through the glass again. She didn't like unknowns, especially ones that looked like sleepy humans with weird hair and snack crumbs in their pockets. Then it happened. Jackson sat up with a gasp. The wires snapped off by themselves. His eyes were glowing again, but not blue, not gold. White, pure and endless, like the center of a dying star. Zara entered the room slowly, blaster in hand. "Jackson?" He looked at her, then smiled. "I remember everything," he said softly. Zara's grip tightened. "Everything? My dreams, my childhood, even things that never happened, or haven't happened yet," he said. "I see stars that aren't born, hear songs of planets not made. I know things, Zara, but they're not mine." Zara didn't lower her weapon. "What are you?" He looked down at his hands. "I was just a guy. Just me. But now, I think I'm more than just human, or maybe I'm what humans were meant to become." The ship suddenly shook. Alarms flared red. "Warning, external energy surge detected. Unknown entity approaching. Power loss in 60 seconds, Zara cursed. "They found us." Jackson stood, calm. "No, it's not them, it's it." Zara turned to him. "What do you mean?" Jackson stared through the glass ceiling. "Piece of the seed is coming." Before she could ask more, a beam of white light blasted through the clouds above and struck the forest below. The whole world went quiet. Birds stopped chirping, wind stopped blowing. Even her ship's systems froze. Something was walking toward them from the beam. Tall, glowing, no face, no armor, only light. Shaped like a person. Zara pointed her blaster. "You stay behind me." "No," Jackson said, stepping past her. "I need to go to it." Zara wanted to stop him, but she didn't. Something in her gut said this moment wasn't meant for interference. Jackson walked to the landing bay. The doors opened. The glowing figure stood waiting. It didn't speak, but Jackson understood. He walked toward it. The two stood face to face. Zara watched, unable to move. Then, without touching, it transferred something. Light surged between them, fast, blinding. Jackson dropped to his knees. The figure vanished like a breath in winter air. The forest roared, back to life. Zara ran to him. He looked up, smiling through tears. "I saw it," he whispered. "Everything. I saw what I am." Zara knelt. "Tell me." "I'm the last container," he said. "They created seeds, pieces of power, of memory, of future. Most were destroyed. One remained. It was hidden in human DNA." "Why humans?" she asked. "Because we were broken. But we adapt. We forgive, we love, we destroy. We feel pain and keep walking. They needed something imperfect, so the seed could grow in the right direction. Zara didn't speak. She couldn't. Jackson looked. At her, eyes no longer glowing, just human. "But I'm not finished," he said. "The final part of the seed is still locked, and I think it needs a choice to open." "What kind of choice?" she asked. He stood. "One that decides whether I save this galaxy or become its end." Zara stared at him. He no longer looked like the same man she found in the forest. He stood taller, straighter, but most of all, he looked sure of who he was and what he was becoming. Back in the ship, the AI whispered, "Energy, level stable, no threat detected." Zara said nothing. She holstered her weapon, then asked quietly, "So, what now, treasure boy?" Jackson smirked. "Now, we go find the ones who made me." Zara raised an eyebrow. "You want to talk to them?" "I want to ask why," he said. "And if they don't like questions?" Jackson looked at her and said calmly, "Then I'll remind them why they should have stayed forgotten." The stars looked closer now, not because Jackson had changed, but because he had changed the stars. Zara stood on the bridge of the Fangstorm, watching the galaxy shift through the curved glass window. Every chart, every map, every system was now wrong. Coordinates no longer matched. Planets flickered in and out like half-remembered dreams. Reality itself was bending. And it all started with him. Jackson sat in the heart of the ship, eyes closed, breathing slow. The seed inside him had bloomed, not fully, but enough to echo across space. Enough for them to hear it. "The Watchers," Zara said aloud. "The ones who placed the seed. The ones who destroyed their own world to keep it hidden. And now, they were coming. Not as enemies. Not as saviors. But as judges." Zara activated deep space radar. 10 blips. Then 50. Then 500 ships. But not like any she had seen. They shimmered like thoughts. Appeared and vanished between seconds. They didn't fly. They slid through reality like swimmers in time. "Jackson," she said through the comm. He opened his eyes. "They're here," she said. "I know," he replied. "I can feel them." The Watchers didn't land. They projected. One by one, giant ghost-like figures appeared around the Fangstorm. Their forms looked like tall beings of light, made from memories and stars. Zara stepped beside Jackson. He didn't flinch. The lead Watcher spoke, not with words, but with thought. "Seed bearer, why have you awakened early?" Jackson looked up at them. "Because this galaxy is broken, because your time is gone, and because you planted me for a reason. You are not ready. You thought I wouldn't be, but you're wrong." The Watchers paused. They had no emotions, no faces, but for the first time, Zara felt something coming from them. Doubt. Jackson stepped forward. "I'm not your weapon. I'm not your savior. I'm not your creation anymore," he said. "I'm something new." He pointed to Zara. "She's the one who showed me who I am. Not data, not power, choice. That's what makes me different." Zara blinked. She wasn't used to praise, especially from someone glowing like a walking sun. The Watchers shifted. "Then make your choice. Fulfill the seed's purpose. Or let the galaxy fall." Jackson clenched his fists. For a moment, nothing happened. Then his chest glowed again, brighter than before. A wave of light pulsed from his body, gentle but strong. It didn't destroy. It healed. Out in space, dying stars flared, back to life. Dead moons bloomed with green. War-torn planets blinked with peace signals. Broken satellites repaired themselves. The galaxy responded. The seed wasn't just energy. It was creation. Jackson had chosen not to burn, but to build. The watchers faded, slowly, leaving only a single sentence in the air. The treasure was never a thing. It was always the will to change. Back on the ship, Zara slumped in the co-pilot seat. "Not bad, treasure boy," she said. Jackson chuckled, his glow fading to a soft pulse. "It's weird. I don't feel powerful now. Just clear." "You still owe me 10 million credits," she said. He laughed. "I just fixed the galaxy. I think I'm broke forever." They both smiled. Zara stared at the stars again. Maps were meaningless now. Everything was new. "Where to next?" she asked. Jackson stood beside her, stretching. "Anywhere. Everywhere. There's more out there. More broken things that need healing." "You really gonna fix the whole galaxy?" she teased. Jackson looked at her and said softly, "No, I'm going to remind it that it can fix itself." The Fang storm soared into the sky, faster than light, deeper than time, and behind them planets bloomed, stars sang, and whispers of a legend began. There once was a human who carried a treasure between worlds and gave it away, not with war, but with hope.